the PS4 will outsell the Xbox One by 40% by 2019, and the PS4 may achieve the PS2 type of success. According to a study, and according to this article, well, that's the PlayStation 4 predicted future sales and future moved units, basically. Now, according to a research firm, Strategy Analytics has released the results of its latest study. They predicted that the PS4 will outsell the Xbox One by 40% by the year 2019. So 2019, that's about, what, 4 years from now? You know, so that is quite a ways away, but still, that would be right around the, you know, well into the life cycle of these systems, into the 8th generation's cycle, and, you know, that would be like the equivalent of, I guess, you know, 2010, something like that, 2010, 2011, with the PS3 and the 360 lifespan. And, you know, 80 million units, that's what they say. The Connected Home Devices report, released Wednesday, predicts that the PS4 will reach around 80 million sold by 2019, compared to 57 million for the Xbox One. 80 million versus the Xbox One's 57 million. These are all basically just, you know, predicted numbers. They're just predictions. They're not... You can't be 100% sure with these damn numbers. You know, I don't fully buy into these predictions. I don't believe them. I don't take it to heart. But according to the Strategy Analytics, according to a study, I mean, I understand. They're basing it on the market share, they're basing it on the growth per year, and they're basing it on the historical, the growth of the PS4 and the Xbox One. So, and they're also using the last generation's, you know, success, or, you know, their numbers, and they even compared it to the PS2, and they even mentioned how, you know, maybe the PS4 can be right up there along with the Wii, the original Wii sales, and the PS2 sales. We all know the PS2 is the highest selling game console of all time. They shifted more than 150 million units, and the Wii, the original Wii, has sold over 100 million systems. So that's only a couple of systems right now. The Wii and the PS2 selling over 100 million sold in terms of home consoles. And it's also interesting that these two are the weakest, technically speaking, from a, you know, technical specs, from a power engine type of thing. They are the weakest systems of their respective generations. The PS2 was, I mean, I guess you could say the Dreamcast in terms of the 6th generation. Yeah, technically the Dreamcast, I think, was a weaker system, but then the Dreamcast died, so then it was between the PS2, the original Xbox, and the GameCube. And obviously the PS2 was by far the most inferior console, technically speaking, compared to the Xbox One and the GameCube, but it was able to outsell its competition so much because it was just great timing. It was so many different factors. The marketing behind it, the hype behind Sony was huge, coming off the PS1 success. All these things happening that made the PS2 such a runaway success, and it was generally cheaper than the other consoles, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the GameCube was around, you know, a similar price. The Xbox was maybe, you know, a little bit more expensive. I'm not 100% sure in that, but I do believe the PS2 was, at least on launch date, you know, the cheaper system. It wasn't that expensive. It wasn't overtly expensive compared to everything else. And then you have the Wii selling over 100 million compared to the PS3 and the 360. The Wii, to me, was basically... It was able to become the biggest selling because it was a gimmicky fucking system. It had the motion sensors, which was the first real successful motion sensor type of you know, control system. And they had all these gimmicky games. It was a bunch of casual shit. So it was marketed towards not just gamers, but people beyond that, the casual, the mainstream. grandmas and grandpas and your uncles and aunts and your pet dog and your pet goldfish can play the Wii, and people can pick it up and they can play Wii Fit and they can play Wii Sports and all these relatively easy to pick up and play games, a lot more casual oriented. It wasn't so much about the hardcore fan base, and it was more like a fad. It was a fucking trend. The first time the Wii came out, it was sold out. The shops were sold out. EB Games, GameStop, they were all fucking sold out of Wiis because everybody wanted to buy this relatively cheaper console. It was a brand new Nintendo type of system with the motion sensors, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Everybody was marking out. They bought into the hype of the Wii. They bought into the hype of Nintendo. They were like, the PS3 was basically way too expensive, and it wasn't really that, amazing in terms of games at that time. This was around 2006, 2007. The 360 was very hardcore oriented, but people were just like, the Red Ring of Death, and, maybe it's a little too traditional gaming, and, a lot of them weren't fans of the original Xbox, and not a lot of people played the original Xbox, really. 30-something million people owned an Xbox, I think. That's not a massive, compared to Nintendo's fucking fan base. So, people wanted to give the Wii a try. They wanted to give the Wii a chance. So they did, and they were fucking disappointed. Most people were. Pretty much everybody I spoke to that has a Wii either fucking sold it, got rid of it, or just never played it. It sat on the shelf collecting dust. So, the Wii to me was it was like a one-hit wonder kind of thing. I'm not saying Nintendo is a one-hit wonder, but the system was a fucking... It's similar to like a one-hit wonder Gangnam Style type of fucking success. That Nintendo got lucky with that fucking console. But moving back to the PS4 and, its predicted sales into, what is it, 80-something million units, something like that, into 2019. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, you're talking about 80 million units, right? That's around the same sales as the PS3 and the 360. I mean, didn't those consoles sell around the same? 79 million, 80 million the last time I checked it. Granted, that was about a year ago, or maybe last year in 2014, 2014. That was sort of the final numbers of the PS3 and the 360. That's like the peak sales that they got. I can't really see the 360 or the PS3 cracking the 100 million thing in the next couple of years. I mean, I think people are pretty much done supporting the PS3 and the 360. We're pretty much at the end of those consoles' lifespans. I mean, I still play the PS3, but I feel like I'm the only one that still plays the 7th generation because it's got a much better library than anything else. But yeah, that 7th generation is done, so they're not really gonna get higher than the 80, maybe 85 million. I don't know, maybe something like that. Yeah, as far as the Xbox One, I mean, the Xbox One is going to be lagging behind. They fucked up right from the get-go. And by the way, it's funny that they compared it in this article. They said, the firm claims Xbox One sales could have been better. However, now for the PS3, like challenges it faced, including a higher initial price point than its main competitor, now the Xbox One is $350 introductory price for a new Xbox One compared to the $400 on the PS4. That's right. The Xbox One used to be $500 with a fucking shitty Kinect. Then they got the non-Kinect. They took away the Kinect. It was $400, and then eventually lowered it to $350. So now I guess it's technically cheaper than the PS4, which it probably should have been $350 to begin with, without the stupid Kinect. So that was a dumb move. That's the problem I got with Microsoft. They're fucking stupid and money hungry. It's money soft. And they're obsessed with fucking cash, and at least they cheapened it. That's a good thing, but they fucked up from the get-go. They're gonna suffer for that. And regarding this prediction with the PS4 numbers, 80 million in 2019, that's not really that far off. That's like similar to the PS3. It's not so much PS2 sales or Wii sales, because PS2 and Wii, I mean, they were able to get over 100 million sales in their lifespan. The fucking PS2, 150 million. 150 million units shifted. So that's a very big deal, and I don't see the PS4 doing that anytime soon. Certainly not with the other systems. And then we get to the Wii U. Nintendo's Wii U, however, will trail a long way behind its rivals, according to strategy analytics. It's looking more and more like Nintendo struck lucky with the original Wii, they said. They definitely got lucky with the Wii, there's no doubt about that. But they also fucked up with the Wii. The Wii... And I hate going back to the Wii. I hate really just bashing the Wii because it just sounds like I'm bashing it. I'm just very critical of it because it really fucked Nintendo up. It's like a mistake that can never be erased from Nintendo's, you know, history. The problem with the Wii was that it was too casual. It wasn't a hardcore system, and they fucking shifted away from the demographic. It was too kiddified slash you know, party games and collection type games, you know, games that are mini games, I should say, not collections but mini games. And the Wii just didn't have enough exclusives that you gotta play. It didn't have the third-party support, you know, it didn't have actual real versions of Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed or, you know, Saints Row or GTA. They had none of that fucking shit. So of course the Wii fucking suffered, and even the Wii U. The Wii U is the system that had to follow it up. And so now it's kind of like Obama taking over after Bush's fuck-ups. So now the Wii U has to kind of play the hardcore system, and they gotta try to have the A Creed, and they're trying to get the Bayonetta 2, and they're trying to get all these different third-party support. They're picking up the pieces that the fucking Wii originally, you know, caused, the fucking damage they've done to Nintendo's reputation. So the Wii U has a lot of work to do, and I don't see the Wii U becoming this runaway success, because people are just jaded. They feel burnt by the fucking the Wii that was too casual, and they're just like, well, fuck the Wii U. The Wii U is just gonna be full of Nintendos and Marios and a bunch of casual games, you know. And by the way, the technology, the specs are a generation behind. The Wii U is more comparable to the PS3 and the 360 in terms of power. That's why they have Bayonetta 2. That's why they have Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty, but then they don't have Advanced Warfare. They don't fucking have what's the other one? They don't have Destiny. You know, they're not gonna get the latest actual 8th generation games for PS4 and the Xbox One. You know? They're not gonna get those next-gen fucking games. They're going to get more outdated games, and games that could have been released 5-6 years ago on the PS3 and the 360. So it's gonna take a while for Nintendo to bounce back, if they ever do. And then you got the Sony thing. The problem I got with the Sony thing with the PS4 is that it's too fucking dick rider heavy. It's too much PS4 fanboyism, and I fucking hate the fanboy culture. You guys know me, you know, god damn it. I've been making videos about fanboys for 5,000 years now. You know, making fun of them, making parody videos and shit. But the idea that the PS4 is gonna sell 80 million by 2019, and then, you know, I don't take it to heart. I don't really believe in this prediction. I don't take it too seriously. I think it's just, it just depends. You know, anything can happen where Sony fucks up. Something happens with Sony that the fucking thing turns around, and then Xbox One is on top again because they might get a fucking hot exclusive or a really fucking amazing must-have game on the Xbox One, and then it does almost like a 360, and no pun intended, but the Microsoft thing is in the lead by 2017 or 2018, and then the PS4 is lagging behind a little bit. You never know. I mean, that could happen. The PS3, which was lagging behind the 360, was able to beat the fucking 360 in the end. It was very close, but they were technically able to sell a little bit more systems. So, at the very end of it all, it just depends on what happens. That's about it. You know, you can't really trust these prediction, sales, and analytics. Thanks for watching The Review Space, the most underrated channel on YouTube. For more videos, check out youtube.com/TheReviewSpace.